Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy. Today we're going to be taking a little trip down memory lane, back to around 2015, when McFarlane Toys was just starting to get back into the swing of things as far as making toys that you can buy in brick and mortar stores. Before the DC Multiverse, before the McFarlane Toy Store, before we started to see Spawn figures all over the place. This is when McFarlane decided to try its hand on building block sets that they described as being like a more mature version of Lego, something that was more akin to dioramas instead of clearly brick-based construction sets. And to do that, they had to acquire a few different licenses, and one of those licenses was for The Walking Dead. And I have one such set in front of me that I want to show you, as well as some others that I'm going to show in some B-roll footage. But here is what one of those sets looked like. Now this set here is called the Governor's Room, and I dug this out of my garage, which is apparently filled with a lot of older lost treasures that I collected back in the day. If you want to see some more stuff from my garage, let me know down in the comments. I'll take some stuff out and I'll make a video about it. But just take a look at this set here in the diorama fashion that McFarlane Toys created it for. Looking at this with these hardwood floors, with this brick-based backdrop for the wall, and just the details of these miniatures in and of themselves was really something that we did not see at all really back then, and quite frankly something that we don't see now unless you print and paint these for yourself. Now this set came with the governor here, and he's got his reclining chair. And then if you remember the show, he also had a daughter who was zombified that he kept chained up, and he would basically keep her alive, so to speak, which is what this little bucket here of these entrails and guts and whatnot was for. And this just painted this really creepy scene. And what made this scene even creepier is the backdrop of zombie heads in the background. That's what this right here is for. You can kind of see right here all of these little zombie heads inside of these clear brick built containers. And when you look at this, it's really, you can tell that there's separation between the bricks, but it's done in such a way that it's completely adult, not childish. But even after all of these years, from 2015, these still work. Check this out. They have switches where you can just turn that on and they light up. And then I can also light up this other side here as well. So I'm going to take this off, turn this on, and there you go. Even after all these years, these batteries still work. I never ever changed them out. And when you look at this sort of in the dark or dimly lit room, and you see these heads just sort of lit up like this, with the governor sitting there in his chair, in that scene that it creates, it's just really kind of awesome. And on this channel, I do a lot of printing of like miniatures and stuff like that. And these definitely look like figures that you could have printed out or can print out today and create your own sort of diorama similar to this. And McFarlane did a really fantastic job when they put these types of sets together. And this is just one of them. I'm also going to show you right now a prison set that they also came out with back in the day, and this was a really big set, and it came with a variety of different figures as well. So it was back in the seasons of The Walking Dead where they lived inside of that prison, so it was a combination of characters and a combination of zombies that you can just position in different places and really just kind of create your own scene. And looking at the detail of the walls and of the accessories, the toilets on the wall, the mattresses that came with it, really shows this really nicely well thought out design that the McFarlane Toys team put together at that time to make something that was realistic, mature, and still manage to grab the audience who likes toys, and in particular brick-based sets, because these are things that Lego would never ever do. And even if they were to do something about The Walking Dead, it wouldn't look nearly as realistic and gritty and grimy as this does. Now, the fun didn't stop with the governor's room in the prison set. In fact, the prison set could be expanded with additional sets. So you could have had like the prison guard tower that you can attach to that main set. It would have made a really big diorama that would have been kind of perfect if this were a tabletop game and you needed some terrain. That prison would have made for some awesome terrain to have in that tabletop game. And then they also had some standalone things as well. They had Herschel's camper from The Walking Dead. You will put that whole thing together. And then they also had a smaller set with Daryl Dixon and his motorcycle just sort of driving down the street, passing up a zombie on his way to wherever he's going. And that was just another example of some of the different varieties of sets that you could have purchased back then, depending on the amount of space that you have and the amount of dedication that you wanted to have to this. So you could have had an entire massive scene, or if you just wanted something small to put on a shelf and just kind of have a mature toy, if you will, in your collection that you can show off to people, this was definitely it. And these light bricks here, I mean, it was just the perfect setup for this particular scene. I think sets like this just goes to show what McFarlane Toys is more than capable of doing. And I've said it a few different times on this channel that recently with their DC Multiverse line, I've become a bit disappointed with how some of those figures look as far as their paint applications go, because I know that McFarlane is so much better than some of the figures that I'm seeing, where it just looks like they're just one piece of single colored plastic with no additional paint apps, no washes, no shading, really nothing. And it makes the figures, some figures, not all, but some of them look kind of cheap and not really worth the price that you're paying for it. And it's not because they're not capable of it. So I would really like to see a return to this kind of detail and attention for future things that McFarlane might want to put out. Because even though action figures are the big things now, they most likely will not go back to something like this, but just bring over the effort, bring over the passion that made things like this so amazing and apply it to the figures today and the accessories and the cars and all that other stuff that's currently being sold, so that we can really see what McFarlane is capable of. So that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember, if you want to see some more figures and sets like this, older things that are just sitting in my garage that I fought through spiders in order to dig out, let me know. I'll go see what I got down there and we can feel nostalgia together and take another trip down memory lane. All right, so let me know. And until then, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.